Hello there, my name is Hido and I'm back. I've been away for a while. Yeah, I went on holiday, so I'm back now and we're going to be looking at lots of lovely Magic cards. And we've got a whole new sort of layout that I've designed for us here. So, without further ado, let's dive into Elminster. 5 mana for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. Elminster. Ooh, quite a cool name. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. Ooh. And +2, draw a card, then scry 2. So a nice 2 mana reduction on everything we're going to cast this turn. No, the next thing we're going to cast this turn. And then -3, exile the top card of your library, create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to the card's mana value. I love effects like this. Absolutely adore them. I love playing with the top of your library. Usually black is the best at this, you know, Dark Confidant, things like that. But blue and white have a couple of cool ways that we can interact. And then Elminster can be your commander, which is why we're on this episode of the show. But this is a really, really cool thing. Although I have to say, if you're going to have a Planeswalker as your commander, sometimes the games do drag out. You know, they end up being quite chuggy, if that's the word to use. You know, they last a while, but, you know, getting your value. Then let's have a look at my subscribe button. Please subscribe if you like this sort of thing. I'm going to be making videos like this for as many legendary creatures as I can. I don't think I can do all of them. I've always said all of them, but dear God, there's so many of them. And I've been away for 2 months, so I've got behind. But we're going to do as many as I can. So let's move on and have a look at my number 5. And at number 5, it's something you might not think about, but it's Emiria's Call. 7 mana for a sorcery, create 2 4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until next turn. Okay, that's quite cool, but why this? Well, it's because of our commander's -3 ability, the exiling the top and getting birds. We want to make as many things in our deck as big as possible. So having lands that cost 7 mana, well, that is phenomenal and exactly why I want this in the deck. So all of these are going to be lands on the backside. So Emiria Shattered Skyclave is the backside of this. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Wait, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this can enter tapped or untapped. All the rest of these are going to enter tapped, but they tap for mana, so they're lands. They're taking up slots, and they make sure we can always hit something off our commander's minus. Undo Inversion is another wonderful spell like this, and it's an excellent board wipe. 8 mana sorcery, destroy all non-land permanents. Okay, we'll destroy our own Planeswalker, but not the end of the world. Really wonderful card. And on the backside, it taps for a mana. Seagate Restoration, 7 mana for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand +1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Wonderful spell, just getting tons of cards. You'll be able to play lots of different things. Win, win, win the game. Really, really cool. And it's a land on the backside. Hey, everyone likes the backside. And seeing as we're making so many tokens, this card is one of the best cards in this sort of archetype. Makindi Stampede. 5 mana sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. So all those 1/1 flyers are now 3/3s and can swing in for lethal damage. Really, really good. Then we've got Glasspool Mimic. This might come up, you know, you might have something you want to clone. 3 mana, 0/0, Shapeshifter Rogue. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature you control, except, it's a Shapeshifter Rogue in addition to its other type. So you're always going to have some nice enter the battlefield effects. This is a 3 mana version. And also, you know, if you've not got anything like that, you can exile it off the top and get 3 little birdies. Then finally, because we're going to be playing a sort of big instant sorcery themed deck, we've got Solemnity Visions. 3 mana instant. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card from among them. Put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Ooh, nice bit of digging. And worst comes to worst, it's a land. But then it can also be exiled from the top. It's just so multi-user, multifaceted. Christ. And these are the, you know, the land sort of section here, but they all cost mana. Wonderful. And that brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, well, what have we got? We've got things that are reduced in cost. So we're sticking on the big mana, but these are just cards that you might want to put in the deck because they cost so much mana. We'll get so many 1/1 flyers, but they're also useful in their own right. Vanquish the Horde, 8 mana. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Destroy all creatures. Amazing in the sort of control deck that we're going to be putting together here. So this, with the 6 creatures on the board, which more than likely we've got 3 opponents there will be, this is going to cost 2 mana to destroy everything. But if we exile it off the top, we're getting 8 1/1s. My God. And that brings me on to Scion of Draco, a favourite of mine recently. I love this in sort of any sort of deck. Yes, okay, it's not as good in this, but a 5-colour deck with this, we're talking about a 2 mana 4/4. Incredible. It's a dragon with domains. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control, so it's going to cost 4 less. Not that good, but it's got flying, it's 4/4. Each creature you control has vigilance if it's white. Hey, we're playing white creatures. Hexproof if it's blue. Whoa, we're playing blue creatures. And the rest doesn't matter. Unless we're stealing other people's creatures, which, could go down that sort of archetype here. But the main thing is, we can exile this from the top to get 12 1/1s. Hey! Incredible. Then we've got Emrakul, the Promised End. 13 mana for 13/13. Costs 1 less to cast for each card type among card types in your graveyard. So more than likely you can have a land, instant, sorcery already. It's down to 9 mana, but you're playing some tribal cards, all those sorts of gubbins, enchantments, artifacts. We can get this down to I don't know, 7, 6, 5? I don't know. I actually didn't do the maths, but yeah, you can reduce this by a lot. And when you cast it, gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. Well, that is absolutely phenomenal. My favourite effect in Magic is mind slavering people because I'm a terrible human being. I've committed many war crimes against the Geneva Convention. But this is wonderful because taking someone's turn, it's just so powerful. You'll win the game off this sort of effect. And, if you just cast it, it's a flying trample protection from instants. 13/13. Dear God. And if you just exile off our commander, 13 1/1. So, yeah, it's pretty good and goddamn good. And then rounding off these, if you want to go into sort of an ice package, we've got an Icebreaker Kraken. 12 mana for a Kraken. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control. So just playing snow basics, we're playing 2 colours, so we're going to have a lot of reduction there. We're going to have a lot of basics in this. And playing snow basics, there's another card that's coming up which requires us to play snow basics. But this is a nice thing to put in, and it's a very small deck building conceit having snow basics. When it enters the battlefield, artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during that player's next untap step. And we can return 3 snow lands you control to the owner's hand, return it to its owner's hand. So we can bounce it back, replay it if we're going to, facing a board wipe or something like that. And then we've got land drops if you want to play some kind of bizarre landfall style deck, if that's your bag in blue-white. So this card works very, very well. A nice rounded selection of incredibly large creatures, and other things that we can cast for less mana. And that brings me on to number 3. And at number 3, well, what have we got? We've got ways to take advantage of these very large CMC things. And Mind Shrieker is one of my favourites. We're making a lot of 1/1 flyers. This is a 2 mana 1/1 flyer. Okay, but there must be more to it. Yeah, there is. That's why I'm telling you. It's a Spirit Bird with flying 1/1. Pay 2, target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Mind Shrieker gets +X until end of turn, where X is that card's converted mana cost. Ooh! So this is wonderful because, if we know we're going to have a lot of things on top because we're scrying a lot, then we can just mill Emrakul, say. This is a 14/14. That could easily swing in for lethal with Mind Shrieker. Really, really awesome card. But it has utility. And the utility is its target player. So a lot of tutors, your Vampiric Tutor, Idyllic Tutor. Is it Idyllic? Yeah, I think it is. That search things on top of the opponent's library. Well, they search it on top. We pay 2. Mill. Ha! We've just ruined their game plan. Really, really awesome. Amazing card. And the artwork, I love it. Look at it. It's big. That means bird, by the way. And then we've got Augury Adept. 3 mana, 2/2, Kithkin Wizard. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal a top card of your library, put that card into your hand. So you draw a card, essentially, but it's slightly different. You gain life equal to the converted mana cost. So we're going to be gaining tons of life. Yes, getting in with this guy is, pretty tricky, but you might be able to make a deal with one of your friends around the table. Then there's Heed the Mists. 5 mana, sorcery, Arcane. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard, then draw cards equal to the card's converted mana cost. You need to have set up before you start casting this. If you start casting this without knowing, well, you could just mill a land. Well done, you've spent 5 mana to mill a land. Oh dear. But, with some setup, this can be phenomenal. Then, Interpret the Signs, which plays into the Scry theme we've got. 6 mana for a sorcery, Scry 3. You reveal the top card of your library. Draw cards equal to that card's converted mana cost. So easily drawing us 13 cards with Emrakul, 12 with Sign of Draco. We can get some big, big plays. And even the lands that I was talking about earlier, which are sorceries, we can get tons of value here. And this also reduces our next instant sorcery by 3. Oh, incredible. Then we've got Whispers of the Muse. And these 3 cards are things that take advantage of that reduction in mana thanks to the scrying. Whisper of the Muse, 1 blue for an instant with buyback for 5. Draw a card. So the buyback is an additional cost, so it can be reduced by our commander's ability to reduce things from the scrying. So potentially if you're scrying 5, this is just 1 single blue, draw a card, this comes back to your hand so you can use it again. Really, really awesome card to have in there. And worst comes to worst, just a single blue to cycle it. That's right, cycling, the best mechanic ever printed. So wonderful card for the deck. Then we've got Capsize, very similar sort of theme. It's got buyback for 3 and it's 3 mana. Return target permanent. That includes lands, you can bounce lands to its owner's hand. Amazing card. And being able to reduce this cost thanks to our commander. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Then here's a big expensive spell that we'd want to play in this deck. Allrun's Epiphany. 7 mana, sorcery, create 2 1/1 blue birds. Hey, 1/1 flyers. Take an extra turn after this one. Exile Allrun's Epiphany. And you can foretell it so you can reduce its cost by 1 if you exile it and put it face down for a little bit. Leave it over there to sort of marinate. Taking an extra turn in a Planeswalker style deck is just absolutely incredible. You get to activate our commander again. Really, really nice play. And speaking of activating our commander and all that sort of thing, let's have a look at number 2. At number 2, we've got Planeswalker themed things. And Dejeru with Eyes Open is one of the best in my opinion. It's a tutor and it helps protect our commander. 5 mana 4/3 with Vigilance, Human Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle your library. If a source would deal damage to a Planeswalker, commander, you control, prevent 1 of that damage. So we get to tutor up another Planeswalker and protect our commander. Absolutely incredible. Then we got the Chain Veil, a classic in every sort of Planeswalker style deck. So 4 mana for an artifact, legendary. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't activate a loyalty ability of a Planeswalker control, you lose 2 life. Pay 4 and tap. For each Planeswalker you control, you may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, as though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated this turn. So we can plus our commander, draw a card, look at the top 2, then we can -3. And if we have multiple Planeswalkers, in our control style deck, well, we're going to get out of hand pretty fast. Speaking of which, here is a Planeswalker that can get out of hand pretty quick. Teferi Temporal Archmage, 6 mana for a 5/5, +1, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. Or, -1, untap up to 4 target permanents. They can be lands or mana rocks. Or, the Chain Veil. Hey, can you see where this is going? And -10, you get an emblem with, you may activate loyalty abilities, Planeswalkers you control, on any other player's turn, anytime you can cast an instant. So this is phenomenal. We can just start exiling things with our commander, making tons of 1/1s on our opponent's end step. Ooh, wonderful card to see. Then, Oath of Teferi. Speaking of the man himself, here's his oath. And 5 mana for a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile any other target permanent you control. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So if we've got some nice enter the battlefield effects, this works wonderfully with it. Then you may activate. I fell into sort of a South African twang there. You may activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control twice each turn rather than only once. Oh, absolutely phenomenal. Gives our commander 2 activations a turn. Brilliant. And here are some other planeswalkers. Oh my god, it's Teferi again. Master of Time. 4 mana for a 3 loyalty planeswalker, +1, draw a card and discard a card. -3, type creature you don't control phases out. -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. Well, that's quite hard to get to, you know, you start from 3. But wait, you may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you can cast an instant. So you can take it up every single player's turn. Amazing in EDH because each rotation of the turn at the table, you're going to have 4 activations. This card, amazing. It's so good. Filters through the deck and then takes extra turns, which obviously as planeswalkers is really good. Then we got Nico Aris. A white, a blue, and an X. It's Nico. Ends the battlefield, create X shard tokens, which are enchantments that have pay 2, sacrifice it, scry 1, then draw a card. Scry, hey. Fits the theme of the deck. +1, up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature deals combat damage this turn, return it to its owner's hand. The returning to its owner's hand is pretty sucky, but if we've got a lot of good enter the battlefield effects, this is really good. We can reuse them, recast them, all sorts of reads. And then -1, it deals 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn. Well, we should be drawing quite a lot of cards. We've got blue in our commander's identity. And then -1, create a shard token, which is obviously the one that scries and draws a card. Awesome. Works fantastically with the deck. And if we're going for a planeswalker sort of themed deck, we can have Ajani Steadfast, who works amazingly. 4 mana, 4 loyalty, +1, gives a creature keywords, and +1. But the main reason we want to play it is the -2. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. So easily getting our planeswalker up there. You know, creatures won't be able to even attack and deal damage. By God. Then -7, you get an emblem. If a source would deal damage to you or a planeswalker control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. That's pretty goddamn good. That's a lot of protection. And that is my planeswalker package. Which sounds a bit weird now that I've said it out loud. But let's have a look at what our number 1 is. And at number 1, we've got Mystic Speculation. This card does everything the deck wants to do. Amazing. I love it. The art looks great. Look at that little tentacle thing. I think corroding the sword. I have no idea what's going on. But it's a single blue for sorcery with buyback for 2. Scry 3. Oh. So with our commander on the field, that means our next instant or sorcery will cost 3 less, which could be this, because the buyback is an additional cost. So it's just a single blue to scry 3 and return it to our hand. And we can just keep digging and digging and digging until we find the spells and the cards that we want. This is the perfect setup card for everything our deck wants to do. Amazing. It's one of the best. It's so good. Then I spoke earlier about the sort of snow theme I've got going on. It's a bit Christmassy. Marit Lage's Slumber is 2 mana for a legendary snow enchantment. Whenever it or another snow permanent, including lands by the way, enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Hey, nice little reduction there. Beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice Marit Lage's Slumber. If you do, create Marit Lage, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Okay, our commander makes 1/1s that fly, but this is a 2020. Oh my God, it's massive. I love making a Marit Lage and then swinging at my poor defenseless opponents. The tiers really add a certain thing to it. But this is a great sort of constant scry outlet. We're getting an effect out of just playing lands and then potentially a game-winning token at the end. Awesome. Then we've got Behold the Multiverse. 4 mana for an instant. Scry 2 and then draw 2 cards. Pretty good, you know. Scry 2 is a nice 2 mana reduction on our next in sorcery. But we can get this for 2 mana if we foretell it. Oh, I used the correct wording. Foretell it on a previous turn. So you put it face down as a trap card and then draw 2, scry 2 in the other order. Anyway, another great one with our sort of snow theme is Graven Law. 5 mana for a snow instant. Scry X, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast a spell. then draw 3 cards. So the interesting thing about this is if we do use the reduction of our commander to cast this, we're potentially only paying 2 mana, so we only scry 2. But 2 mana to scry 2 and draw 3 is still amazing. So a great card to have here. And, you know, if we're playing the snow package, we may as well put this in. Then we've got Tamiyo's Epiphany. 4 mana for a sorcery. Scry 4. Oh, that's pretty goddamn good. Scrying 4. That's a 4 mana reduction on next instance of sorcery. Amazing. And then you draw 2 cards. Not too bad at all. And because this is 3 generic and 1 blue, potentially if we've already got a sort of mana value reduction from Mystic Speculation, this is going to be 1 blue to scry 4 and draw 2 cards. You can't turn that down. Then we've got to scour all possibilities. You know, you're scouring the pan. As you went, what the hell am I talking about? 2 mana for the sorcery, scry 2 and draw a card. So it's our commander's plus. No, it's not. It's slightly different because we're scrying first, then drawing the card. But this can really help set us up, and we can flash it back for 5 mana. And remember that if we've got a reduction from our commander on an instant sorcery, well, that flashback can be reduced as well. So potentially just 1 blue mana to flash it back. Then finishing off, we've got Eyes of the Watcher, which is an amazing piece of artwork. Look at it. It's just phenomenal. 3 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 1. If you do, scry 2. So we're getting a reduction on instant sorceries, but then we have a little tax that gives an extra scry 2. And so we can just dig through the deck amazingly with this. And this is my big scry package. God, it's about a different word other than package. It's all sounding a bit sinister, isn't it? But please subscribe if you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed making this. It's nice to be back making these videos. It's been a good while. But hopefully you've found this useful. Seems like a really cool commander, so jolly good. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.